Okay, so hi, this is our team. My name is Melissa. We have Minur Smith, we have Anders Sorensen, and we have Mario Alberto. And today we are going to present our group conclusion of this project. First of all, we wanted to talk about who we choose to interview. In this case, was Salvador Venegas, who is a teacher of UDEM, specifically from the Department of Modern Languages, which is on the School from Humanities and Education. And we thought about him because he had this really big academic background on different countries, which implied he has been involved in different contexts and cultural contexts. So he will be a really good person to match what we were searching for, that was uh, to investigate about the perception and the challenges of adaptation process of a person within different cultural contexts. And our main topic was the intersection of language and culture living abroad or living in a different country. Salvador was on United States, on Ohio University, was on London, on University of London, and he was on China, on Lanzhou University of Technology.
Dr. Salvador Venegas is from Mexico. That is his birthplace. He grew up there and studied English his whole life, so he's pretty proficient in English. He's teaching modern languages at UDEM, and he said that when incorporating his direct teaching style, he says that it takes a while for his students to ease into it since Mexico has a very indirect culture. He studied for a year at Ohio University and he acclimated to the American lifestyle seamlessly. As I previously mentioned, he preferred the direct style versus the indirect style. Um, he appreciated the boldness and he loved asking questions in class because he explained in Mexico that that's something that's not normally done, but now he said that he incorporates that when he's teaching. Um, he taught in China for months, 2 weeks at a time over the course of his lifetime. And he said that they were very timid and formal from what he was used to in Mexico and in America. He encouraged them to be more outgoing. And over the course of his time there, he said that a lot of them got a lot more comfortable. And he said that as through his time there, it was kind of like a symbiotic relationship where as he was teaching them, he was learning a lot about their culture and vice versa. So it was a very beneficial relationship on both ends since it was very different from his time in Mexico and America.
Okay, so one of the cool things that Salvador mentioned during the interview was the fact that the Chinese people always try to be the best at something. Um, that's why I create this slide. The Chinese have a great passion for excelling in everything they do, from culture to business. They always strive to be the best. And this is due to a combination of cultural pride, internal competition, and the pressure to excel in a highly competitive society. Additionally, with China's rise on the world stage, the ambition to be number one in all aspects has become even more pronounced. And it was quite fun and cool to learn about this topic because we as Mexicans and as Americans, we also try to do our best at everything we do. But the Chinese people are just different. They have a different ambition, and I think that is incredible.
So getting back to the intercultural exchange, which is COIL, a lot of successes that we had were being able to compare and contrast our cultures. That was something that we were able to do very comfortably early on. We were able to communicate really well also through WhatsApp and Zoom, and everyone was always willing to contribute. Some challenges we faced over the course of this were, of course, connectivity issues, time zone differences, and then balancing the work with other classes and the class itself, and scheduling conflicts as well. And then backtracking from the other side, some improvements for the future. I said that establishing roles and expectations early on so that there is no confusion is essential to this whole thing. We were able to do that for the most part, but I think establishing that from one of the first times we met would have been a lot more beneficial.
And then I said just establishing a like a better plan of action for like what we were gonna do at like when all the due dates were and like our plan for our interview, just like a maybe if we would have mapped everything before, we would have been able to stay like perfectly on schedule. But generally speaking, I don't think um it really caused any negativity within our project. I just think if it would have been more scheduled, it might have gone a little more fluidly. And I think like our Zoom presentations and stuff like that would have worked out a little bit better.
And well, in my case, I think that I need to improve my communication with the group, and also I need to be a little bit more organized.
For my part, one of the problems and the challenges was the connection. So I think one of the improvements we could do for the future it's like to create a more structured plan, a backup plan for these kinds of scenarios.
So, after our interview and throughout, I guess throughout the interview, we kind of reflected on some of the similarities and differences that we learned about from this presentation or from the interview. So some of the similarities was that he said that language was one of the strongest cultural aspects that defined a culture. And he told us this through a story in which he was in China and he was uh, learning the language and like going through the nuances of the language and experiencing the communication within the classroom setting and how like that varies just pretty much in like a general way that just like language is one of the biggest um aspects to culture. Another similarity was how how experiencing different cultures um like leads to a like different outlook on life. And I think throughout our class and we kind of gained that same outlook that he was talking about. And then some of the differences, these are a little more specific. Some of the differences that he talked about was his entrance into the Chinese like schooling culture, how during class, not a lot of questions were asked. It was very formal. And then how when he got out of the classroom setting, it was very the students had a lot of questions about him and who he was, and um, that was just one of the differences from both of our school cultures. One of the other differences was his perspectives on culture because of his religion. So he said that he had gone there as a missionary and how that influenced influenced like his different outlook on experiencing this culture, that it wasn't that he had a family member or some type of direct connection to China. He was going there as a missionary, which I found very interesting, as we all did, I think. And then also a difference in his experience of throughout his life, I guess, is he was for the most part on the side of teaching it as opposed to learning as like we are. Yeah.